Greetings, my people. Today is still, what is today? Thursday, February 19th, 2026. The time is 11:06 p.m. And I saw this video circulate, and I just had to speak on it. And I titled this one, Father of Nine, Cam Newton says, the reality is women lose their value the more children they have. Now, based on how, and I always say this about Cam Newton sports take, love it. And I don't agree with all of them, but I can appreciate his football IQ. I think Cam Newton has one of the best football IQs, and he's one of the most qualified people to talk about football, especially at the quarterback position. But when Cam Newton talks about just everyday life, especially, now this is one thing we can talk about evenly, Cam, is being men or males. However we want to slice that bread. You have way more financial experience, right, than I do. But the one thing we have in common, if they rounded up all black males or men, and it wasn't based on classism, me and you would be in that same pack, would we not? Right? So we can approach this thing as we both can speak on this equally. Right. And I'm going to play Cam Newton because I don't want to misquote the brother. I always like to play them and let them speak for themselves if I'm able to. I don't like to quote somebody. And give me 1 second. Let me set this up. Okay. Real quick. Voila. And now, here we go.
I was having this conversation, with the reality of that answer is women's value get lower the more children that they have. And I was having this conversation, with one of the mothers of my children, and she's still fine. But like I was telling her, I was like, yo, the guy that you're dating or will date, if he ain't willing to love on these 5 children that you have, that ain't the guy for you. Because when I came into your life, I was willing to accept you and whatever you had. And there's got,
In my opinion, I don't think that this is the way he's laying it out. I don't think this adds up to her worth.
It's out there that's just going to say, them ain't my kids. I want you. Well, that ain't how it works. But that's not to say that she can't find nobody.
Right.
I'm pretty sure she has somebody.
Right. But do you feel like it's as the best that she could possibly do if she didn't have children?
Well, you're talking to a dude that was once in her life. I don't feel like she's going to get better than me. That's just my confidence.
I don't even think it's confidence. I have said, and I might get eaten alive, I don't think most women do better than the father of their children.
The reality of that answer is women's value get lower the more children that they have. And I was having this conversation.
Now, I don't think based on that he meant it in a devaluing, derogatory way. I've heard a lot of people, and I've always said that Kevin Samuels started this train of devaluing children and devaluing women with children and putting that word value. See, I don't like when we say value because we're judging somebody based on their worth. Now, let's go to sports. If we say they don't have much trade value, they don't have much worth, You can't get much for them. So that means I'm judging how valuable they are even to a situation. Now, when I said in the beginning, I don't think I don't think Cam meant it in a derogatory way. I think that we just hear this so much, and it's always by unbalanced brothers, right? And part of that, I'm gonna say part of that is why part of why you have so much of this battle of sexes. Females that can't stand males, males that can't stand females, is because you're unbalanced. One thing about us black, melanated, whatever you want to call yourself, the difference between us and Europeans is our ability to have calm and balance. Now I reach into my Kemetic self and I reach into my African self. I don't care what y'all believe. And I judge things on those scales of my yacht. And based on those scales of my yacht, see, I don't need a book. I don't need I don't need scripture to tell me how to be. Nothing wrong with scripture. Nothing wrong with reading scripture. But when you base this on these scales have to be balanced. And because we live in an anti-African society, and because we're out of our minds, we see everything from a Eurocentric standpoint, right? And in seeing things from this Eurocentric standpoint, we see women and their value from a westernized way, right? So when we talk about feminism, feminism is a product of Western white culture, right? So based on how we look at our women, we're looking at our women from somebody else's cultural lens. I'm gonna get back to Cam Newton. I'm just laying this out. We're looking always through somebody else's cultural lens, right? And so I think that misogyny has been around. Feminism has been around. This is something that Kevin Samuels did not bring misogyny. But what I do think he did, he used the internet to put this anti what a woman's value. If she got these many children, she's not worth this. Now, this is what I will say. Me being in my 40s, I don't want a woman with a bunch of little kids because I don't, my son is an adult. But the problem about that statement, now this is the problem with that statement by Cam Newton, that he has 9 children. This is what I mean, you're unbalanced. And this is what I mean, you're in a Western society, because Europeans are the ultimate hypocrites. They can destroy everything that's yours. They can lynch you from trees. They can watch our children. They can watch our youth be destroyed. They can watch George Floyd be destroyed. They can watch a Trayvon Martin be destroyed. They can watch a young Tamir Rice be destroyed. But when old Charlie Kirk catch one to the neck, they were pissed. Because it's not supposed to happen like that to them. You can't even do anything back to them. See, this is why white people are always in a constant state of paranoia, because honestly, they can play this delusion they want, but they know the blood on their hands. They know what their ancestors have done, right? But they got to stay in a state of delusion, right? So when you get into this hypocrisy of saying, oh, I can be a father of 9 and don't lose no value because I got that money on, because I got this, because I got that. I can be a little Boosie that have several children. I can be a Nick Cannon that have several children. I can be an NBA young boy that have several children. And because I'm based in this misogynistic patriarchal system, it tells me I don't lose my value. In fact, my value increases. How? If we're basing this on a fair scale, remember that scale I was talking about? So how does this thing go with her value and her worth? Let's say you meet a woman. She has 3 children. You have 3 children. Are y'all at equal worth, or because she's a woman with 3 children, is her value lesser? Let's say she has 2 children. You have 4. Let's say let's up the numbers. Let's say you have 6, she has 5. What makes her less? Because the same thing, let's say a woman in her 40s like me and she has a grown son. I would think that woman would be less likely to want to deal with a man with 5 children or 9 children in Cam Newton's case. Right? So to me, in his breakdown, he says the man that's for you, he has to come in and love on all your children. That shows a balanced man. But let me show you how the poison in the cookies and how this Kevin Samuels effect, that 4-letter word simp effect, that we have so many unbalanced males and males that are afraid to think for themselves. And they say, well, shit, I ain't trying to simp on that. I ain't trying to simp on that 304. I ain't trying to simp on her. I ain't messing with her. She got 4 children. And she could be a wonderful woman. She just has 4 kids. Meanwhile, this young lady over here that has 0 kids could be the worst thing. It's a thing called character. IWA. IWA. But we're always in a habit of listening to unbalanced people. Celebrities, in my opinion, are some of the worst people to give advice because they're bought and paid puppets. Their allegiance is $1, so a lot of times they're not able to see clear. You just heard Cam Newton a couple of weeks ago say, a week or so ago, said he can't even have female friends if they are attractive. Now, I don't know if that has anything to do with that 106 and sport canceling him. But to me, that was not a good message to send out, because that's a suit waiting to happen, because the optics of things, it makes it look like you don't have self-control if she's attractive. That could be easily to put something on you, because all she has to do is be attractive, and you on record saying if she's attractive, you can't even be around her. And we're constantly talking to people that are unbalanced in their mental energy, in their emotions, in their physical, in their sexual energy. They're constantly unbalanced, but they're just talking the laws of the land. They're just saying what everybody else feels. When he says reality is, who shapes reality? Or do we go with the reality that's said and put in front of your face? That if she got 5 children, she don't have no value. But if he got 5 children, that's okay. See, in order for us as black people to even become somewhat healthy, we got to put down these hypocrisies. We're too damn hypocritical. We're too busy. Well, it's okay for me to do it, but she can't do it. I can persuade her to do a threesome, but I ain't doing that because I'm a fool. I can go outside. It's okay for me to go outside the marriage and have a baby and convince her to stay. But if she goes outside, I'm gonna damn near want to unalive her. How, Sway? And masculine energy like Cam Newton constantly keeps the battle of the sexes going, because he says some of the most unbalanced things. And I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's very successful. His money speaks for him. I think his aesthetics speak for him. I think his money speaks for him. So he doesn't have to do a lot. And it's always disappointing to look at that young sister he's with, Jazzy, and to see that she was a very successful woman. She had her own mind. And to see Cam Newton, now this is what I do think. I do think Cam Newton is a manipulating, pimping ass dude. Because he knows what he's saying. So he knows that if I can take this young lady right here and dump her full of kids, nobody's going to want her. Because I just said out my own mouth that her value gets less and he just wants to dump the most kids in them. And this is why he said, and this is why he says he's afraid for marriage, in my opinion. He's afraid of marriage because in marriage he's gonna have to be serious, and you know he could be afraid that them bank accounts, that bank gonna be, them pockets gonna be affected if he get caught cheating. So I would just rather not get married because I know me. I know that I can't control myself. I love women. And it's in a man's nature. It's in your masculine energy to be attracted to the opposite sex. That's just what it is. But you have to show some self-control. We can't keep putting stuff out here like this and just saying that's the way it is because we're keeping the cycle going. He says some of the most unbalanced things, and I sit here and I listen to him. That's why I said in the beginning, his sports mind, love it. But when he speaks as a black male, I cringe. Think he's a great father. But he's not showing those young men. If he has daughters, he's not showing those young ladies balance. He's just going to keep showing a bunch of shacking up. He's just going to keep showing. And then you can't get on to do as I say, not as I do. And then when your daughters have boyfriends, you say, oh, well, you can't go through that. You can't date a me. You get what I'm saying? You got to mean what you say and say what you mean. You have to be a man of honor. You have to be a man of integrity. You can't be a hypocrite. You can't expect this woman to sit up here and watch you play in her face and say, oh, if she play in my face, she out the door. That's why we're unbalanced. Because we're not bringing security. We're not bringing mental security. We're not bringing emotional stability. We're not bringing emotional security to our women. I'm seeing brothers on panels talking about men ain't meant to be monogamous. I seen old idiot Corey Holcomb talking about monogamy is a bad thing. Who influences you? You as a brother, if brothers watching this video, if y'all watch this video, who do you spend time listening to about developing masculine energy, about how to be in a relationship? To me, in my opinion, it's not about, because I listen to them when they talk about Dr. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, and they say, here goes some more of this unbalanced stuff that y'all do. She's sitting up here giving out advice, and she ain't even married. She don't even have a man. Now the one say, I don't even think she like me. And then when I balance them scales, when I put those stones on those scales, and it's the same thing with Kevin Samuels. He wasn't married. We weren't even sure if Kevin really liked women all the way. But you liked his rhetoric because it fit your, not what's the word I'm looking for? It fit your narrative. It fits your outlook of the feminine energy. You're unbalanced because you don't respect the divine feminine. She's unbalanced because she don't respect the divine masculine. You unbalanced within yourself. You can give out all the financial advice you want. You can go get all the money you want. Fine, go get you some paper. But be right within. If you don't have a respect for the divine feminine and the feminine energy, you're going to be always off balance. You're going to always look at them as hoes, these broads, these 304s, all these derogatory names. And then when it comes to the white boy, you say the white man or the white woman, you give them the utmost respect. And when somebody in the like me come around and say cracker, Old Faye, Peckerwood, dog, you tell me I need to get up off that energy and stop being like that. I had these idiots tell me you need to get that hate out your heart for my president. I don't have no hate in my heart. I just dislike fuckery. You get what I'm saying? You have more respect for that oppressor than you do your own reflection. And for you, a lot of y'all, for your own self. And then we say that's just being a man. So you shape the world's narrative. When you say that's reality, you shape the reality and say, well, that's just how men is. I mean, men gonna cheat. I mean, niggas gonna do it. Yeah, that's the problem. Niggas gonna do what they gonna do. And as I always say, if you hear me do more of these videos, I always say those are archetypes. When I'm saying male, it's an archetypical energy. It's an archetypical mindset. When I say man, it's an archetype mindset. Say king, it's an archetype. When I say nigga, it's an archetype. Same thing for females. I know what a bitch is, but I don't waste time. That's why I said Corey Holcomb has an arrested development. Because he's almost 60 years old and he can never say anything positive. He has a miserable soul. I saw a video of him bragging about giving a woman an STD and said, hey, what happened, bitch? Whenever you hear these dudes, they cannot bring it to themselves to call a woman just a woman, a lady, a female. It always has to be something derogatory. They're unbalanced within. It just is what it is. They have something that they got to deal with. But we got to stop this. We got to stop this because the type of dudes that we're putting up, and as far as men, the type of masculinity we're allowing to represent us, that's why we look like that. That's why we look like that, because we letting Lil Boosie speak for us. We letting Cam Newton speak for us. We letting Stephen A. Smith. We letting old Shay Shay. And old Shay Shay just let the cat out the bag and said he wished he had a relationship. But that old bravado and that old ego, when he was sitting up there talking about, oh, Ocho, hey, Ocho, them young ones, they coming with it. See, it's the old ones. And he had that egotistical snarky. That's why I didn't feel bad for Shannon Sharp when that girl, what's her name, Gabrielle, Sue Nigga, that's what I call her, Sue Nigga, because that's what she did. I didn't feel bad for Shannon because he was warned several times. Monique warned him, and he up there because he had such a shitty outlook at the divine feminine energy. He'd be all on Twitter antagonizing black women, saying they need to go, and it's a horse that need their hair or some shit he was saying. You gotta stop listening, ladies. You gotta stop listening to these females that don't have a healthy relationship with the divine masculine. And it doesn't involve submitting. It just simply involves respect. Now, submission can mean whatever you want it to mean. But like I opened up and I talked about this westernized society, Submission always remember. When I'm watching UFC and they say the winner by submission, that means he or she put their opponent in a move that was so devastating that they had to give up. You're tapping out to somebody that's more superior to you. It's like trying to take nigga and make it happen. I don't like submission because it got too much taint on it. It could mean whatever you want it to mean. But to me, we as black people collectively, we're always in a submissive state to white people. That's why even on TikTok, they was doing like this. They would put their palms up and say colored people. Because they have you in a fearful state. But you don't have no problem speaking on your people in a derogatory way and saying how women don't have value because they got children. Fuck. The more children she has, but you going toward double-digit numbers and saying, "Oh, ain't nothing wrong with my value," with your hypocritical ass. I can't rock with. I can't take hypocrites serious because that's a severely westernized trait. I've been watching these compilations of these Karens before I land my plane. I've been watching these compilations of these Karens, and the Karen psyche is a twisted psyche. Because the emotional train wreck that the Karen is and the bipolar schizo ability that the Karen has, it's a very dangerous trait. But the hypocrisy in the Karen is she can full on curse you, grab you, and the moment you do something, why are you hitting me? I just want to, and they can flip on you in a moment like that. Balance yourself, fellas. We all are works in progress. This is not a judgment, but we're all works in progress. And the more you keep listening to unbalanced dudes and dudes that aspire to this westernized or this flat out nigga shit, they're gonna keep you off scale. And you're never gonna find your higher purpose within. Because on those scales of Maya, does your heart weigh light as a feather, or is it weighed down with bullshit? Make sense? So that's my spiel. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. And we gotta do better, fellas. Sisters too. But it takes men to have conversations with other men. And it takes women to have conversations with other women. And everything don't have to be attacking or coming at somebody. But we can't keep letting thoughts like this just be out there that like this is what healthy men think like. No. This is not a healthy mindset. Even though, like I said, I don't think he really meant it in a malicious way. That's just the warped way that his mind is designed. But we got to do better. Peace.